Hello guys, can see you. Welcome for this live session. Welcome. And basically today we're going to talk about suicide. This is a suicide month. September is a suicide awareness month. And Wanjiku, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon, guys. It's lovely seeing you. Welcome to this engaging forum. Hi, Steffi. You're most welcome. Okay. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much for joining in. My name is Judy Makena Gashaki, and I'm here so that we can have cordial talk about suicide, talk about being an awareness month, September being a suicide awareness month. At least we can have an open conversation around suicide, changing the narrative that we've so much demonized suicide. Yes, it's not a good action, but we can change the narrative. You're most welcome, Wanjiku. Welcome. Basically, here representing HealthX Africa, and HealthX Africa is a telemedicine firm, and basically we offer services around medical field, around pharmacy, and around psychology and nutrition as well. And you can do this at the comfort of your home, just a phone call away, using our toll-free number 0800 720 795, and your services will be at your doorstep. Welcome, Rebecca. Welcome, Essie. Hi, guys. And I want us to be as interactive as possible. We want to make this a norm in September. Let's openly talk about suicide, and let's make ourselves aware about suicide and suicide interventions. And suicide is intentionally taking one's life. It's something that you've voluntarily done, and you want to maybe end a problem. And surprisingly enough, you realize that most people who engage in these thoughts or have these thoughts, suicidal thoughts, most of them do not actually want to die. It is the problem that they want done away with. They want to do away with the issue that they're experiencing at the moment. And once they do not get the help, they go ahead and complete it, which is quite sad. And so we should... Hi, Warika. Hi, Keshi. Hi, I can see you. Welcome for this forum. What we're saying is that it is good as human beings. It is good as friends, siblings, not to demonize suicide. Yes, someone could be doing it voluntarily, but it is out of seeking to get out of a problem that you've experienced, and not necessarily wanting to die. And then you realize that there's just a cautious estimate of people, ladies are the ones that do attempt, but men are the ones that go through with the complete action of suicide. And the reason you can mention that men do not experience any phobia. If they want to do this, they'll just go ahead, get something quite lethal, and do away with it, do away with their lives. But for ladies, it is a little bit skeptical because we tend to have some fear. We tend to have some limitations when it comes to some ways of maybe exposing ourselves to dangers. And you realize that even ladies will go to an extent of getting a jiggle, just a soft way, a less painful way to die. But men, guns, they can even throw themselves into the rivers. And you realize that those that go ahead in completing these are men as compared to women. And come to think of it, and with your insight as well, you realize that men are quite bottle up their emotions, they quite bottle up their experiences, quite bottle up what they're experiencing, and you realize these percentage goes up when it comes to men because they don't want to disclose, because culture has instigated that maybe if you open up, you're the weaker sex. You do not want to see a man cry because that's a sign of weaknesses. That is a sign of that is being a female version of when you show yourself crying in public. And we are here to change that narrative. We're human, we experience lows, we experience our downs, we have our ups, and it is always good to speak up when you're experiencing any problem. And there's some triggers that could be leading us to have those suicidal ideation. This could be financial instabilities, loss of a loved one, and this is mostly affects those the spouses that have lived for quite some time, and one of them maybe passes on and the other one is left quite lonely, and you feel there's no need of living anymore. There's no fun living without my partner anymore, and you find out that the older version, actually those that are between 50s to 60s 70s, thereby out of loneliness they decide, let me follow my partner wherever he or she is. Another one could be separation, divorce. Those are quite emotional baggages that you might have to deal with. We have cyberbullying as well. That's a trigger, something that we've experienced. We have body shaming, someone thinking that fat women, big women, calling them fat, point of correction, referring them to fat women, and so much words, unfriendly words on people could be leading one to thinking of taking his own life, because maybe they feel they're not beautiful enough, they feel that they're not comfortable in this part of the society. And so we should change this narrative. Let's avoid cyberbullying, because yes, it might affect someone else negatively as compared to how it could affect you. Some people could be termed as fat and they just laugh it off, and some they have to really overthink. Do I really quote unquote look like a pig, because of the low self-esteem that you impose on them. And we can also mention about those people that do post pictures on social media, quite active, because that's where they get their validation from, out of the likes that they get. But then when the likes goes lower now, they start feeling low about themselves. They start feeling quite insecure, because they feel they no longer see me beautiful. And those are the narratives that we want to change. We want to be self-assertive, we want to be confident, we want to boost our self-esteem, and so that we can deny these ideations that could flood our minds. And also, thank you so much. Miss Mwangi, welcome. Maggie, welcome. Moyoka, welcome so much. And we mentioned that Heldex, in this being a suicide awareness month, we want to change the narrative. We want to demystify those allegations that suicide is not something that we talk about openly, that someone who has ever attempted suicide, one day they will kill themselves. No, you can actually change the narrative. How? By helping and guiding these people into seeking assistance in those thoughts. And you say these intrusive thoughts actually do not mean that one wants to take his own life. No, it basically means that you want to deal with a situation or a difficulty that you're dealing with at the moment, and you feel death is the only way that you can get away with this problem. And so who is likely to commit suicide? Who is likely to commit suicide? I know those are the questions that we're asking ourselves. Yes, we're talking about suicide, so how do I know that this person is likely to commit suicide? Of course, if you've lost a loved one. And when you've lost a loved one, when someone has lost a loved one, they so much gone through stress, leading to depression. They have no sense of meaning to life, maybe. And we also have those people that have previous suicide attempts. They've previously attempted suicide and they've not sought help into what led them into this. Could also be a likelihood that this person next time could go through the attempt. We also have those that do have substance use abuse. We have people that experience problems, and the only thing that you can do is drink yourself out of it. Sorry, Stanley is asking, is the susceptibility to commit suicide genetic? Yes, studies have shown that actually if someone comes from a background of people that are died through suicide, you're likely to follow the same route. But we're changing this narrative, right? And initially, actually, Stanley, to answer your question, it is that there is no support that has been offered to these families that have been bereaved through suicide. We just join them in burying their loved ones, and then their life just continues. But I believe these people need guidance. They need guidance. They need to be sensitized on the fact that suicide is not the way out, and there are other ways to curb this. I hope I answered that, Stanley. So I believe the government, of course, through the various stakeholders, the health facilities, we have to come up with a support system in which these families that have been bereaved through suicide are well attended to. Then we have also now in the era of cancer, which is a very which is a dilemma to most of the people. It's a very quote unquote a very painful chronic illness, and you find out that many people, instead of going through this pain after being diagnosed with this chronic illness, because there is that narrative that cancer is very painful, you find them opting for softer ways of getting done with this life, and the most likely thing to do, suicide. That's the illusion that crosses their mind. Yes, it's a narrative that we have to change. We've seen people getting well after going through sessions of cancer treatments. We've seen Tony Mukundi, welcome Monica, welcome for this live session. Sorry for the interruptions. I'm saying that chronic illnesses, people that are suffering from chronic illnesses, is another questionable group of people that are likely to commit suicide because they find it is an easier way of getting done with the pain. And also, yes, and also we've noted, you've noted even from the mainstream media that people from various professions, for example, the military, the police, the doctors, medics, actually, they're going through these difficulties, some because of the pressure they have to go through the system, of course, some because of the things that they have experienced in the line of duty, and they feel, you know what, if this is the path I'm going to take, if a doctor is is in the palliative maybe care and taking care of those that have chronic illnesses, and they feel if this is the way I'm going to head, then I think I have to get done with this life. And these professionals, actually, they have to be given proper care. They have to go for supervision. Police officers that have to take dead bodies every morning, just going around taking dead bodies during demonstrations. They have to be exposed to these very cynic things, and it is always good to seek for professional help, and because these can bombard our thoughts, they can mess up with our thinking processes. And this being a suicide awareness month, we have to change the narrative. they need care just like anyone else. Just like a depressed person, they also need care. We also have people that have lost their spouses and they cannot go through their losses in a very positive way. We've seen them committing suicide because they feel this is no longer warranted for. This life is no longer, I cannot live alone, and they end up taking the life. Again, remember, health is at the comfort of your home. If you feel these ideations are clogging your mind, HealthX is there for you. Just a phone call away and you'll have a session with a psychologist to help you through your thought processes, to help you journey on through the emotional turmoil that you're going through. Welcome Chebet, welcome Joki again. We said this is a very interactive session. Let's share how we feel suicide has affected our society, how we feel we have to change that narrative. Maish, welcome. Cynthia, Chebet, feel comfortable to chip in your contributions on these open talk. Let's be candid about it. It's something that is affecting us. It is something that is in our society, and yes, we need to change that narrative. Yes. Okay. Then we have warning signs. Yes, we've been exposed to those people that are likely to commit suicide. So which are these warning signs? What are we really looking into? And you realize that but most people that are suicidal actually will make peace. We start making peace, and also maybe trying to divide their possessions. You take these. If anything happens to me, kindly be ready to possess my phone. Be ready to do this. The piece of shamba that I have somewhere, you can have it. And these are the signs that you should watch out for, especially if that person has been through a very depressive state, and all of a sudden now there's that sense of calmness. They just feel calm all of a sudden. Yesterday this person was not okay. The last 4 weeks this person was not okay, but now this person is experiencing a sudden feel of calmness. Then you have to be on watch. Again, people will start, the suicidal people, of course, will start maybe talking of ways how they want to end my life. This life is no longer important without this person, and it's a feeling of hopelessness. Okay, it's a feeling of hopelessness, and you feel like that doesn't have to make a living anymore. Like, life is done. I'm going through this. Death is the only solution to this, and it is quite a turmoil for someone to go through. And when you realize these signs, it is always good. Ask them, wait, you just said that this life is not worth living. Do you mean you want to commit suicide? Do you mean you want to die? It is. Let's normalize asking people, are you thinking of suicide? Why are you talking about this? Are you thinking of dying? Do you feel like death is the only way that we can get done with this problem? There are other ways that we can deal with your problem. Okay? And we also have people that avoid any social interactions. They avoid any social interaction. Someone was very socially active, out to go for maybe parties, and all of a sudden this person wants to be confined by herself or himself, and you want to basically be alone. You don't want any disturbance, and anyone trying to talk to you, you quite distance yourself from this. And this is a very alarming sign, that of trying to be alone, just wanting to distance yourself from any interactions with anyone, anything, or anyone that could be suggesting, hey, we could hang out somewhere new. Then that is a very alarming sign of suicide. Another thing is Maybe another alarming sign could be that of agitation, very agitated, temperamental with everything and anything that seems to get concerned with you, quite temperamental. That could also be a very alarming sign. Again, you say making peace, trying to you just wanting some you time alone, not even you time, that is a you time in quotes, because you want to seclude yourself from any outside world, any situations that could be external. You just want to be by yourself. And we have levels in which these suicidal ideations and suicidal thoughts could be incorporating in one's life. We have instances. The first thing, of course, we have the trigger, okay, and the reaction towards the trigger. The trigger may be you've lost a job, okay. What is the reaction? Oh, I cannot find another job. My life is done. Everything now has gone to shambles. Then the next thing now you start thinking, you know what? I think death could be a solution to this. And the next thing now, you're thinking of ways that you can kill yourself, ways that you can take your life away. And ultimately now, it is now the commission of suicide. So those are the steps that most individuals take. The trigger first appears, then there's the reaction to the trigger, then the incorporation of the ideas. Now you feel death is the only way that you can get done with your problems. And then the next thing, now you're planning on how to do this and the best ways to go through this. And we've said in ladies, they look for ways that are less hurtful, less painful. But for men, quite liver. And it is something that is quite alarming. And that's why we have many ladies do have the ideation. Many ladies do come up with a plan. But those people that again, I will use completion, because sorry, there's another question that I really need to attend to. Do the warning signs vary between males and females? Oh yes, male are quite easy to just bottle it up, but then you find that ladies are, at times they speak out. They can tell you, you know what, I think I'm planning to take away my life. You know what, I think this life is not worth living. But when it comes to male now, they sort of seclude themselves. They sort of choose loneliness, because again, culture, society, is that embeddlement that if a man speaks out, that's a sign of weakness. If a man shows a tear, that is the women in them, which is a sign of weakness. So yes, these signs do vary. Women are very likely to speak up, and that's why the ideations are well attended to before they go ahead with the act. But for the men, they choose to bottle it up. Yeah. So it is very easy to plot someone maybe out of the exposure, the triggers, of course, and you see their behavior now. You can easily plot when someone is likely to commit suicide. And then once you've seen these signs, you've seen the change of behavior in these people, what should you do if you suspect someone is suicidal? Yes, you've noted there's a change of behavior. This person is keeping her things or his things in order, sharing property, because they know that they are soon leaving and they want to leave everything at peace. What should you do? The first thing, talk to them, inquire from them. You said that you want to share your belongings right now. You told me that in case anything happens to you, that I should hold your phone back. What does it mean? Are you planning to commit suicide? Let's normalize asking people whether they're thinking or they have the thoughts of suicide or any suicidal ideations. Let's normalize these talks. And once you've confirmed either verbally, okay, you can do not ask. The don'ts in suicidal cases. Do not ask them why. Why do we refrain from asking them why? Because they'll get defensive. And at times, the problems that they tell you that they are experiencing, maybe someone has a chronic illnesses, may say cancer, and you've been told you have only 2 months to go. Okay, let them know that though maybe you can cheapen religion, okay, but again, don't be the deputy Jesus. Do not be the judge. Do not read scriptures to them, because if I'm a religious person, I expect God to be on my defense. I expect God to love me to an extent that I should not go through this pain. So let's not be judgmental on lines of religion, but be realistic with them. Yes, this is a problem that you're going through. Yes, I understand maybe in a 2 months' time you'll not be there. Don't you think we can even sort other opinions from other doctors? Let's not ask them why, because of course they definitely will be defensive. Okay, and once you realize someone has this ideation, let them know that solutions are there. Solutions are not by maybe throwing yourself in the river, or maybe standing on the highway and getting hit by a car. No, we have other solutions. We have psychological solutions to the same. We have solutions, yes, that one can sort. And then if encourage them, okay, seek this solution. If it doesn't work, then maybe we can sit down and have a conversation. But let's only have this conversation after you're done with the solutions, after we've seen that these solutions that we might or are at our exposure are not working. Okay, so let's normalize again. We are changing the narrative. We are changing the narrative. Culture, maybe some cultures say that maybe let's not talk about suicide. It's as if you're welcoming death in our community, in our family. No, having a conversation about suicide, there is no myth attached to it, and let's normalize talking about it, because millions of people are dying. Millions of people are dying just because they have not openly been taught on how, they've not openly been sensitized about to have these conversations. And again, once you realize someone is suicidal, avoid leaving them alone. Ensure that there is always company by their side. Avoid leaving them alone. Another thing, again, avoid leaving them in a place where they maybe we have tools that they can easily use to take away their lives. Knives, ensure that knives are kept away. Guns, those that do have licenses to possess guns, ensure they do not have those tools at their disposal. Why? Because by doing so, you're lowering the risk of them being exposed to suicide. We're lowering the risk, because of course if a gun is at my reach, then and I have these ideations, the next thing, what do? Just take off my life, okay? And then you keep this person. Remember, we mentioned that suicidal people know that suicidal people do not want to die. They just want to finish a problem that they are going through. Okay, they just want to do away with the problem of death, problem of joblessness, problem of loneliness. That's what they want to eradicate from their lives. Not that they want to take away their lives. No, it is the problem they want to get done with. And so ensure that you talk them, you calm them by telling them, you know what, this is not the option. This is not the only option. We can seek out psychological help. We can seek out professional help from a professional professional entity. And again, you say HelpX, quite convenient, just a phone call away, using the toll-free number, of course, and help will be at your disposal. Okay, and then there are ones that again we've said we should refrain from things that we should refrain from the moment you realize that someone is suicidal. And the don'ts: please do not tell someone, okay, go ahead. You want to die? Okay, go ahead. Just because you feel that this person is attention seeking, yes, Yes, we've had such narratives that if someone wants to die, will not talk. If someone wants to commit suicide, they don't talk. They just go ahead and do what? They do it silently. But that's not the case. No. When someone speaks out, not that they are after your attention. And this mostly happens with partners. When your partner tells you, or your spouse tells you that I want to commit suicide, do not take that as a way of them wanting to get your attention. No, that statement should be treated with lots and loads of seriousness. Okay, so don't tell them to go ahead and do it. No, don't do that. What you do, talk to them, ensure that they have the right professional help. Okay, as someone comes to you, approaches you, and tells you that maybe I want to tell you something, and you have to treat it with utmost secrecy. Sorry, Hanja, I was feeling suicidal more than a month ago, and I reached out to you guys. Okay, I've had 2 people assigned to me and changed before I had a full session. Okay, kindly reach out to our call center. You'll be assisted, and I'm quite sorry about that hitch, but I'm sure you'll be assisted. Thank you. Some of us have sworn to secrecy of if someone tells you I want to tell you something and you do not want to talk about it, tells you please do not tell anyone, do not tell my partner about this, do not tell my parent about it. Let's not swear to secrecy, especially if the matter pertains suicide. Let them know. Again, therapist will always tell you, I'll treat everything with confidentiality, with the secrecy it deserves, but then I have limits. And one of the limits are those. When you are suicidal, that means you, sorry, I even have lost hope in therapy because of that. Mohadia, kindly sorry about that. Sorry about that, Mohadia. Kindly call through the call center and actually request them to patch you up to Judy. I'll guide you through kindly. Okay, so some of us swear to secrecy, and we tell clients that there are areas that I cannot swear secrecy to. I cannot promise you the confidentiality will be to that level. For instance, if you want to harm yourself, and one way of harming yourself is through suicide. So harming yourself, harming someone else, if there is a minor in play, mostly yes, or if I'm required by the court of law. So suicide, let's not swear to suicide. Even professionals do not do that. So don't be that friend who will watch a friend die just because of that secrecy you swore to keep. Okay? And then don't act shocked. You want to die? No, let's not ask. And the reason we want to normalize this talk is so as to make it as open as possible. Let's normalize suicide. Let's normalize the talks on suicide. So avoid getting shocked and avoid being quote unquote the word on the streets, Deputy Jesus, they're judging you. Don't. Okay? Just normalize taking it, sensitize it with a little bit of empathy. Okay? I can imagine. Do not tell them I know what you're going through. I was once there, but I didn't kill myself. No. Do not belittle one's feelings. Do not belittle one's difficulties. Okay, Stani has what about the people who attempted suicide but didn't go through? How can we help them? Thank you, Stani, for that question. If someone has attempted suicide and they've not gone through, you don't sit down and relax. Again, we say this is one group that is likely to go through suicide next time. So the best way is to encourage them to seek professional help. Encourage them, because let professionals sensitize them on alternative ways of solving problems and not always by ending their lives. I hope I answered you, Stanley. Okay. Sorry to take you back. We said let's not act shocked. Let's not act the judgmental type, quote unquote, Deputy Jesus. Let's listen to these people. Let us know what they're going through that is triggering them to be suicidal, to have these suicidal thoughts. And another thing, we need to empathize with them. Do not belittle their problems. Do not tell them that you went through the same and you're okay and you don't see why they shouldn't be okay. Again, we process different things differently. We're different human beings, and we process our thoughts quite differently. So the best thing, listen to them, be empathic to them, of course, and encourage them to seek professional help. Yes, if professional help has worked on your side once, encourage them. Tell them, I had a friend who had such addictions, and they went through this professional help, and it worked. Okay. Another thing, let's not tell them, you know what, go ahead and do it. Don't lecture them. Don't tell them, who do you think you are that you're committing suicide? Who do you want to leave your children with? Who do you want to leave your wife with? Who do you want to so much lecture on the emotions that they're going through? It is something that we should refrain from doing. Okay? So I think we've sensitized ourselves more. The group of people that are likely to get these suicidal ideations and those that are likely to commit suicide. Okay, we've talked as well on how do you tell the someone is suicidal, the do's and the don'ts. So I think we are enlightened enough to change the narrative. And again, we said, let's change this narrative. Let's normalize speaking about suicide. Let's normalize reading about suicide, because of course, through enlighten, we transform. Okay, so any questions, any comments? Let's engage ourselves, and as I said, as I mentioned, HealthX, of course, using our toll-free number 0800 720 795. You are at a convenience of talking to a medical doctor, to a nutritionist, a psychologist, and also have the pharmaceutical services. We have pharmacy with us, so you can reach out for the services just through a phone call. We are a telemedicine firm, and we offer any service that I've mentioned at the comfort of your home. So Stani, my previous classmate in high school attempted suicide. So what can help in schools to avoid this? Very good question. Remember, the basic units of education are schools. From the family unit, we have the schools. And schools have to incorporate suicide sensitization, either through the syllabus, we can, through the government, through the Ministry of Education. Suicide education has to be incorporated in the syllabus. Okay, again, parents, teachers are required to be at ease to talk about this, right? Yes, Tani, they should be at liberty to talk about suicide, learn to listen, and stop being quote unquote the African mother, the African teacher who whips someone has attempted suicide, and the best thing that you can is beating quote unquote the hell out of that person. It is the best thing is just to listen to this person. What prompted them into this thing? And again, if they do not ask why, they'll be defensive. Engage them in a conversation. Okay, through the conversation, you help you be in a position to know the presenting issues that could have moved them into attempting suicide. Okay, any other question? I hope Stania answered your question. Okay, so the government as well should be supportive. Initially, you attempt suicide, you do not die, you're the visitor to the state prisons, right? Instead of someone getting the psychological help they deserve. The next thing, you revisit her sleeping on the cold floor just because you didn't die. The mistake that happened, you didn't die. It is a narrative that is clearly coming to die, okay? Because these people really need mental attention. They really need professional help to cope with whatever problem that is presented in their lives, to cope with whatever emotional discomfort they are dealing with. Thank you for the engaging session. If there is any question, Rotich, Gloria, welcome. Ideal Girl, thank you for joining. Thank you. Any comment, any sensitization that you feel we could have as a country, most welcome through our webpage, the Instagram page. You can leave your comments there, you can leave your views there. Again, this is September, the Suicide Awareness Month. So most conversations in the psychology world mostly will be on suicide. So we better get used to it, just the way we have to get used to normalizing the talk on suicide. And it starts with me. It starts with you. So we have to normalize this topic on suicide. Thank you guys for the interactive session. Jeb Kemoy, welcome as well. Thank you so much for being interactive. Thank you for the insights that you've shared, for the questions, for the statements that you've commented about. And let's identify and help people that are at risk. Let's sensitize our friends about suicide. Let's be free to have this conversation on suicide. Thank you so much for the session. I think we're coming to the end of the session. It was an honor holding this talk with you. It was a privilege to be talking about suicide today and maybe touching a life somewhere and talking about it in a free way and in an interactive way. Again, Helix, we are telemedicine firm that you can easily reach out to for any services, and these services are nutritional, the psychological, general medicine, and also pharmacy services. Thank you guys. Bye bye. Good afternoon. Have a lovely day and have a lovely Suicide September month. Suicide Free Month. Yes. And touch a life, change a life. Change a thought, change a life. Bye bye. It was an honor.